Hi.
Hi.
Hello, everybody.
Hey.
Looks like I see at least one new person. I thought I saw two. Eunice and Kelvin, would you like to introduce yourselves, or were you here last week?
Hello. Sorry, I was on mute. I'll just introduce myself. I guess myself and Eunice. We're both AWS interns for Amazon. For myself, I'll be taking over. Um, I think the previous intern Kong Zhao's extension to the JavaScript SDK for the AWS X-Ray. I think he implemented some parts such as the ID generator, the propagators, and some of the resources. I've just been looking over that and hoping to take over in the coming weeks with the help of Anurag as my mentor.
All right. Yeah, I actually have one of his PRs on the agenda today for the ECS plugin resource detector. So I don't know if that's something that you'll be taking over also, but I think that will actually be merged pretty soon. So,
Okay.
what about you, Eunice?
Hi, well, I'm also a AWS intern. I'm not working exactly in the OpenTelemetry JavaScript, but I will be working in the Grafana team. So it does have something to do with the JavaScript. So I'll just be attending it weekly from now on.
Okay. Sounds good.
Yep.
Are you also under Anurag?
No, I don't know my mentor yet, but we'll find
Okay.
out today.
Okay. Well, welcome.
Thank you.
Just real quick, I wanted to mention that I'm going to be out again next week, Monday through Wednesday. So Bart, would you mind running the meeting next week?
Yeah, sure.
Cool. I just copied this. Let me share my screen here. Let me know when you can see it.
I see this.
Okay. I copied this from last week, but it's still true. So there's a lot of open PRs that need reviews. A lot of them have like 2 reviews, but just need one or 2 more. So a lot of close PRs, but just want to remind people to always be reviewing PRs. There are a couple to do with the GA progress. I actually don't think that this one is GA. I think only the global error handler is. Sorry, let me, God damn it. I think I did this. There we go. Okay. So I saw the global error handler PR was opened by Matt. Has 2 reviews so far from myself and Bart, but it would be nice if we could get a couple more eyes on this before we merge it. Matt, is there anything you want to say about this PR, or are you just waiting for reviews?
I think I'm kind of just waiting on reviews.
Yeah, okay. So please, approvers, I know there are not too many approvers on the call today, actually, but please review that if you can, since it is required for the GA. So I was out last week, and when I came back, I merged a bunch of PRs at the beginning of this week. So I was wondering, do you guys think that we should cut a release, or do you think we should wait? Is there anything that any PRs we want to merge before we cut a release. If not, I'll start working on the release this afternoon, if that's okay.
Go ahead.
Right.
I mean,
think-
maybe just this bug fixing with the context propagation, so that doesn't have as many reviews.
These here.
1541. I think you could like a duplicate, yeah.
Yeah, I think they duplicate some.
Not this one, the next one.
Yeah, this one here. Okay. So I know this and this. You mentioned they duplicate some functionality. Are they complete duplicates of each other, or they just duplicate parts of it?
Some of, and I'm just wondering what would be the outcome if we merge two of them. So, I mean, Valentin, I think he said he will wait for first for mine and then he will remove something. Because now he needs to add something, but once that PR is merged, he needs to remove something.
Yeah, his is still marked as a draft, so I think we're probably safe
Yeah.
to move forward with your fix. He obviously already approved it, so he thinks it's okay. So I'll review this before I create the release PR, and we can try to get this one merged. So. Okay. Next issue I wanted to talk about was the async local storage context manager. Valentin has a PR here that already has a handful of reviews, but there's been some discussion on which version to enable by default. So in 14.8, there was a fix for a bug in async local storage itself. But at least according to Johannes, the PR that broke 14 was never backported to 12. So 12 isn't broken. So should we enable it on 12, or should we, like, it might be a little safer to just say 14.8 plus and call it a day? Is it worth risking that, that there might be a bug in it, or are we okay saying just 14.8 up and that's it?
Can we make it optional, maybe?
I mean, it's always optional. The user can always decide which context manager they want to use. This is just set, like, which one is the default.
I would leave it.
Just leave it at 14.8.
Yeah. If
I think
user can enable this one, if user can enable that, then if anyone needs this for the version 12 and he knows how to enable, then fine.
Okay. That's the way that I was leaning to, but I figured I would bring it up just to see if anyone had any dissenting opinion, I guess we'll call it. Okay, I added, Bart, your plugin v2 PR here. I've already approved it, but it looks like I'm the only one here. I just wanted to bring it to everyone's attention that this is ready for review, and this is sort of the next, this is the way that we will expect plugins to be created from now on. So it's a fairly important piece, but it doesn't affect any existing functionality, right?
Yeah.
So I think we should probably get it merged fairly soon and start trying to actually write plugins with it. Because until we try to use it, we won't know if it needs any changes. But it generally looks good to me. Is there anything that you want to say about this PR? Any particular thing that you would like to point out, or not?
I mean, not really. I mean, finally, it works in the way as it should. So it's giving you possibility of instrumenting all the files, including the internals, before the really. So like for GraphQL, without this one, I cannot write the plugin GraphQL because the GraphQL is exposing all methods and object as read-only, so you cannot patch them at all. You have
That's
to
the internal files patching?
Yeah.
Okay.
You can do this only by patching the internals.
Okay. So this is a fairly important PR. It's not technically required for GA, but I think we should have it done before GA.
I'm just thinking the next step would be just to have some package that will basically combine, because in the end we'll remove the plugin loader, yes, if I understand correctly. So we need still a way to include some meta package which basically loads and creates all the plugins that you want automatically and assign the tracer and meter provider. Yeah?
Yeah, I think the existing meta packages would just be extended to do that, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and then the SDK module will need to be updated to take advantage of that also, to automatically load everything. But I think that's in follow-up. It's already a pretty big PR as is.
Would the plan be to eventually migrate other plugins to using this?
I would hope so. Unfortunately, like we already, so if it was just our plugins, then I would say I'd like to deprecate the old plugin system. But unfortunately, we already have a handful of plugins in the wild, so to speak, that are hosted by repositories we don't control, that are written by people we don't necessarily even know. So I think we have to continue to support the old method for at least a while. We may want to add a deprecation warning on it or something like that. And I'd like to encourage people to use the new plugin format, but I don't know if it will be possible to actually get everybody to switch. I think we may have already missed that train.
Does this, does this help at all with some of the load order problems that?
It should, it does. So now with the new system, plugins will actually load and patch their various modules first. That will be the first thing that happens before anything else gets loaded. And actually what really made that possible was the proxy tracer PR that's been in for a few weeks now. Because it initially patches it using the proxy tracer, and then once the SDK is loaded, those tracers become useful rather than being no ops.
Got it. So those things should kind of already be fixed. This doesn't actually help it at all.
To some extent, this does help it. It requires both of these things. So just this wouldn't fix it, and just the proxy tracer didn't fix it. But both of these working together does fix the load order.
Cool.
Does anyone have any questions on this, or should we move on? Okay. There are a couple of PRs here that I wanted to pull out as they've already received some approvals, and I'd like to merge them, but I just wanted to get, they're ones that had a lot of comments. So I just wanted to get last chance to say no on these. I know, Bart, you had quite a few comments on this, but it looks like you eventually approved it. So are you okay if I merge this?
Yeah, everything was resolved.
Okay. And then the Prometheus start server was kind of the same thing. This had quite a bit of discussion, and Bart, it looks like you never actually did approve this. Do you have any open concerns on this?
Yeah, I mean, just look. So it was never answered. So change it.
So this one from August.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's.
I mean, the biggest concern here is that if you basically, previously you could, in a pure JS, you could create and nothing would happen. Now, if you don't provide a config, it will basically throw an error, because now it assumes that there should be something, which.
I see. So.
And the second thing is with this, with this false, why we want the default to be false. Like, you have to say precisely false. But if this is not provided, then it's a false, yeah? Like with any Boolean value. If you don't provide, then it's the default false.
So I see what you mean by that, but I think the whole point of this PR is, so I think we should start the server by default. I had originally been against that because I didn't want to modify behavior, but without it, the exporter is useless. So I think we just need a config to explicitly not start the server if we want to prevent that. We could rename it to like don't start server or something like that if you think that would be more clear.
Yeah, like exactly.
Okay. So let me mention here, this has gone a while without any updates, and then I will reply. We'll see what he says here. Oh, wrong one. Oops. Let's see. Edit. Delete. Here. Okay, and he has to fix the merge conflicts anyway, so. Actually, I'll just merge this one right now. I have to wait for the update, so I'll do that after the meeting. Okay, so we already talked about these two PRs. They're not actually duplicates. They just duplicate some parts. So I guess this one is one that we need reviewed. So please review that. If you guys are not aware of what the issue is here, it's that when you, within its current state, the HTTP sensor is setting the outgoing span as active on the context, which then makes it active in the response callback. Right? Am I understanding that correctly, Art?
I think the fix that Valentine is doing, yes, but mine is a different one. Like, for example, if you are using it's the best visible, for example, with open tracing. So if you have the context propagation in headers, they should be set as active context, because
Okay.
otherwise you are losing the context and the next request will be done, like it will never be bound to the whole flow. So it will be a separate context.
Okay. So
it
review
extracts the context from the headers. If this is valid, then it sets up as an active context.
Okay. So one more like fairly old PR that I wanted to bring up here. This is the Ecs Resource Detector. This was written by Kong. Written by a different Kong, the previous AWS intern who is gone now. Kelvin, I don't know if you are taking over responsibility for his open PRs. I think this might be the only one he has currently open. But it doesn't have any merge conflicts. It's just lacking reviews. So if we could get 1 or 2 more reviews on this, we could get it merged and not have to worry about that. So I would appreciate that. It looks like it only needs 1 more. So unless anyone has a reason that we should not merge this, I think we should just go ahead and merge it. That covers everything that I really had on the schedule. I also wanted to just mention the GA tracker. We still have a lot of issues that don't have PRs yet. It looks like, Matt, you should have a PR in here. It looks like it probably just wasn't added to the tracker, right?
Not added to the tracker.
Project, bring down.
Yeah, is that a specific thing that needs to happen?
Yeah, it needs to happen separately. So I think all approvers have access to add things to the project, but when you create a PR for one of these GA issues, you have to specifically add the PR to the project so that it shows up here.
Cool. I was hoping maybe it magically happens by linking the issue in the PR. But
yeah, it would be nice. It doesn't seem like the projects have a lot of magic at all. So maybe in the future, but for now it's a manual step.
Cool. Good to know.
Other than that, I have the fields and keys PRs. I'll probably open today. I've been working on them. I just haven't had a ton of time to work on them, but they are basically done. So I'll be opening those soon. But yeah, I just wanted to mention the GA is approaching and we still have a handful of issues that we need to solve. So just don't let it fall behind, I guess, is all I'm asking.
Yeah, and to add to that, I have a B3 issue assigned to me. I think I have it as feature request, but it's really required for GA now. This is another thing that was kind of underspecified that I found on the spec and decided to kind of look around and see what was happening in OTel. But yeah, basically we need to have single header support, and the way the spec is written, B3 should technically, the B3 propagator should come in an extension package. I tried to change that, but met some resistance, so I undid that change. But I'm not sure if I should handle those both at the same time or if those should be done separately. I don't think it really matters either way, but.
So it looks like this issue was closed. Was it closed because, yeah, it looks like the PR merged.
Yeah, if you want the full version, on extract, you should look for single or multi-header B3. For inject, by default, you should inject single header B3, but have some config to change that to multi-header.
Okay. And then to have it in an extension package, I know, oh, the spec currently says it's an extension package. I got it.
Yeah, so that was already in the spec. I was trying to just say, hey, you can ship it with the SDK if you want, but Bogdan seemed very adamant that it should be separate. So,
okay. I mean, I think that those should probably be two separate PRs just because they're separate ideas. But if it's minor, then I guess I don't see a problem with it being one PR. I just think it'd be easier if it's two different PRs.
I think that's fine. Like I'll plan on doing the work since it will be probably painful to have two people try to do that concurrently. But once I get the B3 support working as expected, I'll open a PR for that and then just kind of base my work to separate that out into a different package off of that.
Yeah, okay. And then I think the Jaeger one is also distributed as part of the SDK right now. So maybe in the PR that you, one PR to do single header support for B3, and then another PR to split B3 and Jaeger out into their own packages, I think would be probably the way to go.
Okay, that sounds good.
Okay. I guess that covers it for today. A relatively quick meeting. I know I went through some of these things fairly quickly. Does anyone have any questions or concerns that they want to bring up before we go? Seems like no. Well, thanks for your time, everybody. And I will speak to you in 2 weeks.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.